Imagine a world where small acts of kindness create a ripple effect of support. A world where financial struggles never stand in the way of hope. That's the vision behind Community Pay It Forward. After a life changing motorcycle accident, I saw firsthand the devastating impact unexpected financial hardships can have on families. That's why I started Community Pay It Forward, to ensure that no one faces these challenges alone. Community Pay It Forward is more than just a single program. Through community impact and packed podcasting, people all coming together, we amplify the voices of those making a difference. And with Community Dare to Care, we provide essential goods like clothing, food, and school supplies to those who need it most, to the community, from the community, for the betterment of the community. With Community Pay It Forward, we support families, children, veterans, community projects, no matter where they are. We are not just providing assistance, but hope for a brighter future, not just for people in need, but for businesses that are out there struggling, trying to find a way. We have a plan, but we need your help to reach the next level. We're launching a crowdfunding campaign to raise $500,000. This will allow us to market the Community Pay It Forward program more effectively and to acquire a vehicle for delivering essential goods to families in need in our community, and enhance and strengthen our programs to serve even more people. And as a thank you for your generosity, we're offering special incentives for your contribution. As we tell people all the time, your donation, big or small, will help. It'll create lasting impact on our community. Join us in building a future where generosity and compassion lead the way. Visit our website today, communitypayitforward.us, or scan the QR code above and donate today. Together, we can pay it forward, because no one needs to go it alone when we all come together. Z-World Webs and Community Pay It Forward present Gifts So Good. Join us in fighting against animal cruelty prevention this April. Every purchase supports an animal care program. If you run a care program, Z-World Webs and Community Pay It Forward present Gifts So Good. Join us in fighting against animal cruelty prevention this April. Every purchase supports an animal care program. If you run a care program, what if one small act could change a life? What if your everyday purchases could support a cause? Join me for a special 3-hour podcast as we introduce incredible giving partners. Hear inspiring stories. Learn how you can shop with a purpose. And be part of a movement that turns kindness into action. Tune in, ask questions, and discover how you can pay it forward today for a better tomorrow. Your business is your American dream, but today opening your doors comes with tough questions. Will customers walk in? Can I stock the shelves with what they need? Can I afford salaries? And how do I compete with the big box store down the road? That is exactly why we created Community Pay It Forward. Because in hard times, we need stronger communities led by people with bigger hearts. Our Shop, Click, and Pick program makes it simple. Every purchase at a participating small business supports a cause you care about. You shop, others thrive. Even when money is tight, you can still make a huge difference. You're not just shopping, you're supporting families, nonprofits, and your neighbors. That's the power of community. That's the power of the Community Pay It Forward family. When you join the Community Pay It Forward family, you will be seen, you will be remembered, and you will be a hero for people in need everywhere. You, your business, and Community Pay It Forward. Because no one needs to go it alone when we all little bit of a preview of things upcoming. That's our new introduction. I finally got around to doing it. I mean, it only took me what, 3 months? So, but had to take a little bit of time to try to catch up to myself again. So that's what it took. Hey everybody, my name is Zach Clayton, Community Pay It Forward, Community Dare to Care, and the Pack channels. We have a couple things upcoming that we are going to be talking about a little bit later on today, but we want to first start the show out with an interview that I did late last week with a wonderful, wonderful lady who, um, I'll I'll still say this, okay? I think it's hard to believe that she's been doing it for 30 years because she's saying she's the same age as me. And, I don't want to say that people are full of it, but let's be honest. When you look at her and you look at me, you can't tell me that she's the same age as me, all right? But she's been a psychotherapist for about 30 years, and she focuses on something that to me is so important because of the fact she focuses on the most at risk for suicide, that age range. And I know what you're probably thinking, and you're going to be shocked to find out you're wrong. It's not the younger generation. It's the people 85 and over are the range where they're willing to end their life quicker and easier. Well, Toya is going to tell us why. She's going to introduce us to what people go through at that age and why it's so important to have somebody who focuses on people who have lived their life, who understand that, I've had a life, and they think that, I've lost everyone I know, I'm just going to check out. It's not a good thing. Toya focuses on our elderly. And when she told me that, I remember looking back at the CDC records and seeing that the elderly are the group. It's actually the in which this is two different age groups, 75 to 85, and then 85 and up. Those are the two groups where people are more likely to take their own life. I believe it's like 22.8 out of every 100,000, or I don't quote me on that. Well, you know what? I'm gonna do this here real quick. I'm gonna bring this up. You will see this in this interview, but here's just a couple things. Non-Hispanic, American Indian, or Alaskan Native is the highest rate of racial suicides. Non-Hispanic white is secondary. And these are 2023 statistics. These are the latest statistics that are out right now, okay? But it is 23.8 per 100,000. Non-Hispanic, Native Hawaiian, or other Pacific Islanders. Again, there's one that you wouldn't really think. They live in tropical, majestic beauty. You would think that their lives are wonderful. And that just proves the point. You never know what someone else is going through. Non-Hispanic, multiracial. Black, Hispanic, and Asian. So that's the racial breakdown. You got 23.8%, 17.6. Actually, it's not percent. I'm sorry. These are 23.8 people out of 100,000, 17.6, 17.3, and then you've got a massive drop after that to 9.2 people per 100,000. So we see where we need to have a little bit of attention given, and let's be honest, we need to catch the attention of these 6.5 Asians. We need to catch their attention. We need to find out what's wrong with them. So I don't mean by any means, well, the Asians, the Hispanics, they don't have a problem with suicide. Yes, they do. If we've got 8 out of 100,000 that are killing themselves, that's 8 people too many. So we do need to focus on this. We need to figure this out. But you can see the breakdown. Males, and unfortunately, and I hate to say this, but the female rates are going up, okay? And the male rates are not coming down. So it's not like one's going up and one's coming down. These are what they are. But the adjusted rates per 100,000, 22.7 males as opposed to 5.9 females. And again, those 5.9 females, that they're going up because of the feelings of being alone, feelings of just defeated feelings for both males and females. Okay, but here we go. You're going to see this again in the interview. And when I played this, Toya was shocked and she was like, I haven't seen that and so I ended up giving her this scale when we were done. But 85 plus, 22.7 out of every 100,000 for 85 and up. 75 to 84, 19.4 for every 100,000. 65, 74, you've got 15.7, and then it bounces, it shoots right back up. Apparently, what this is saying is that, we're going to be fairly 65 to 74 is like the second happiest time or the third happiest time in our lives. But if you look at this, these are a lot of these, which was, again, this is a little shocking to me. Okay, these are all professional ages. So you're 25 to 64 range. These are all your professional ages. These are and 24 is pushing it when I say professional ages. But if you really want to look at it, go up to 34, 25 to 34, to 65 to, those numbers are just heavy and they're wrong. They're wrong. We don't need people feeling like this. 15 to 24, 13.5. Again, 13.5 out of every 100,000. That is too damn many. Too many. But I was happy to see that those numbers are not higher. We need to keep that way. Kids, if this means that you are out there and you are pressuring people to stay alive, keep doing it because you're doing a great job. If you've got a friend who's in trouble, keep doing what you're doing because you are making a difference in your friend's life. Okay? If you got a friend that's in severe anxiety, in severe trouble, consider reaching out for help. Okay? What you're doing is great, but let's make sure that we reach out for help and make sure that even this number, this 13.5% goes down. This number right here, the 2.3, I got to be honest with you, this is one of the saddest numbers. Children aged 10 to 14, there are still 2.5 kids for every 100,000. 10 to 14, you don't even know what life is, and you're taking your own life. Hell, as an old guy, I can say even up into 25 to 34, you don't even know what life is yet. But 10 to 14, and we have 2.5 kids that are taking their own life. You can find this chart if you go to cdc.gov/suicide/facts data.hotmail, I guess, or HTML. So, but cdc.gov/suicide/facts/data. Okay, you can go there. You can see these statistics. You can read so much more. Suicide methods, firearm. You can see firearms are the look. I believe in gun rights. I believe in responsible gun rights. I fully believe in responsible gun rights. As a matter of fact, I like knowing that the person next to me has a gun. I like having that feeling. As a biker, I've had that feeling a lot, and it was always reassuring to me. Sorry. Suffocation. This one actually kind of surprised me a little bit. I'll be honest. That would be such a horrible way to go, but that's the second highest. You got suffocation. Poisoning, you have 12.9%. And then other, you have 8.21. Okay. But the most important place that you can go right down is right here. You can go to additional resources. These are places that you can go to find out more. You can also come down here to find out how to help people, public health, social media resources, where to go. But this is a great place to go if you want to learn a little bit more. And if you really, 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 folks, want to see what we are dealing with. Those right there are just numbers that one website, we were able to pull it up. One website. Now, as I mentioned before, as I mentioned on the 22nd all the time, those numbers are going to be a little askewed because certain states have certain ways to report suicide that other states do not. I still think it would be a great thing if we were able to mandate a way to report suicides. I think it would give us a much clearer picture on what we need to work on. I think it would give us a much clearer picture to report things, and it wouldn't make us sound like we were being hyperbolic or we weren't, people like me weren't out here shouting our asses off for no reason. I think if we were able to report statistics and show this is, drug overdose, this is alcoholism, these are firearms, if we were able to put all these together, because if you noticed in there, yes, poisoning was in there, but it didn't have overdose. It didn't have, overconsumption of alcohol. So they're not reporting those two things. And again, here in Colorado, if you overdose, it's an accidental suicide. It is reported as a suicide. I'm going to tell you, as somebody who lost a couple friends to overdoses, to overconsumption, it hurts. It hurts your soul when you hear the words accidental suicide. And it'll piss you off because you'll hear the word accidental suicide and you'll be like, my friend didn't kill themselves. They messed up. They OD'd. They didn't commit suicide. I think my perspective of that is if we do list it as that, hopefully it'll get us talking about it a little bit more. Hopefully it could also be a deterrent because you don't want to be known as somebody who accidentally took your life. So, but the truth is, we need to make sure that we're reporting this all the same way. Again, please go to cdc.gov/suicide/facts, and you can find that chart that I just shared with you and that we talk about here with my friend Toya. Toya's in New York. She is a psychotherapist. Again, this is a video that I did last week with her. Wonderful, wonderful lady talking about helping people in different ways that they are also helping people, including a neat concept. So here's my friend Toya Liverpool. Continuing our conversation on mental health and some of the ways that people struggle, some of the ways that people have struggled, and more importantly, some of the solutions that are out there. We have my guest today, Toya Liverpool, who is a psychotherapist in New York, correct?
Yes, New York State.
New York State. Are you on Long Island or?
I practice all over. I have an office in Terrytown, but also now in Brooklyn. I recently opened up in Brooklyn, but I am licensed in New York State and actually New Jersey. So I practice telehealth in both states.
Yeah, you've kind of got a unique um, second job in one of your offices too. Did you want to talk about that? Give it a little bit of a push?
Are you talking about the cafe?
Yes.
Okay. Yes. A year ago, me and my partner opened up a cafe in Brooklyn. It's called the REP Music Cafe. And it's really what we consider a second space. Because in this space we promote different artists. That would be visual artists, musicians, dance, because my partner is a dancer, a professional dancer. So we have a lot of different events happening. So it's not just a cafe, it's actually a community space because we do a lot of community events also. So it is my kind of our passion was to promote community, and that's what's happening at the Rep Cafe. So yeah, very proud of it.
Just that place sounds so cool. I really I think it, and it's funny because I no longer drink, which you guys turn into a bar at night. I no longer drink and I don't drink coffee either. So I would just be going there for the art aspect of it. But honestly, and let me ask you this, with what you do in psychotherapy,
Mhm.
art ties into that a lot for a lot of people, does it not?
It sure does. And we have tea also. Yeah, so a lot of herbal teas. But yeah, what the dream of this space actually came because of my passion for mental health. This space was actually born during COVID, because my partner at the time lived in Japan. He had been living in Japan for 18 years. But we were high school sweethearts and best friends and remained in contact throughout the years. And during COVID, he was actually struggling, because as a dancer, he traveled all over the world, and all of a sudden his work stopped, full stop, during COVID, right? So
Mhm.
now he was this person who was always out and about and traveling and teaching and dancing, and now he had none of that. So he reached out to me and we would start talking on a daily basis. He would take these walks and we would have these discussions. And during those discussions, he said to me, wow, wouldn't it be nice if everyone could have access to a therapist? And I said to him, well, you know, you don't pay for this, but if they pay for it, that would be nice. And then we started talking about spaces that promote mental health or spaces that people could socialize again. And we started talking about a cafe because he was a coffee drinker and I'm not, I drink tea. And we started talking about a cafe. Wouldn't it be nice to have a cafe where it's a welcoming space where people don't come just to like work on their laptop, but there's events that they come to so they don't feel lonely. So we started talking, he's into art, so we started talking about art, an art space, a visual art space. We started talking about having mental health workshops at the cafe, dance events at the cafe, um, live music at the cafe. And so right now we have all of those happening at the cafe, but it's really to promote mental health. Because when you know, a lot of study shows when people are isolated, it increases the chances of them becoming depressed. Isolation is a huge trigger for depression. So, and people usually are scared to go into public spaces where they're not going for something in particular. So by creating certain events or curating certain events, you are creating that third space so people can come in and sit and listen to music. But the hope is they're also going to socialize with like-minded people or they're going to meet a new friend. So, you know, one of the things we said, the rep is come to meet a friend, come to bring a friend, come to be a friend. So, and that's what it has become, and it's really a safe space for people.
In Lundstrom, who had started um, the Avery Center before she moved on and went to become the executive director of another program. One of the things that she used to do with some of the girls that had been rescued was one of the from trafficking. One of the treatments that they would do is they would sit them down with whatever media they wanted, you know, charcoal, pencil, paint, whatever it was, and open your mind, express your feelings, be yourself. And I'm going to tell you that I have never in my life seen such scary,
Terry?
beautiful,
Mhm.
terrifying, uh, hopeful art in my life. And some of them were in the same painting. You watch that transition from moment to moment. I was in, you know, I used to be an artist. I can't draw or paint hardly at all anymore, but I used to be an artist, and I understand what it's like to have a brush in your hand and you start in one mood, but by the end of the painting, it's in a completely different direction. So I do see that as something that I think is very uh, ingenious, one. And if I ever make it out to New York, in which I hope to someday, I definitely want to stop by and see that.
Please do, please do. And the one we do have every, I think 6 to 8 weeks, we have different local artists that display their art on the wall. So we have different art installations, and we usually have a little event to invite the community to come and view the art. So every 6 to 8 weeks, we have different artists just put up their art and they can sell it. And it's really amazing to see the different people that come in and display their work and how different they are and how beautiful they are. So if you're
Yeah,
ever in New York,
well,
come
that
by.
that it does. I think it sounds like a wonderful place.
Mhm.
One of the one of the main things that we run into is fear. Um, People don't want to open themselves up, and people don't want to become vulnerable. And so therapy is one of the things that they don't prioritize. They're
Mhm.
like, and I like the way that you put it earlier, you know, when we hurt our foot, we go see a doctor. But when our head is jumbled, we think it's okay. You know, we think, whatever, I can get through this. Yet, without taking care of that, it becomes very dangerous.
Mhm. You know, something that was really not talked about is like you tough it out. You know, if you feel sad or depressed, you know, get over it. You got to go to work. Like, you know, certain things were just not prioritized, you know, feeling when you kept going. Um, and I think for a very long time, even the generations before us, it was even harder, right? People didn't think about a lot of those things. Um, I think something happened during probably the 70s, 80s, and 90s, and it had a lot to do with substance abuse that was hitting our communities. And I think because a lot of people found this new thing, different drugs that they would use in order to really treat their mental health, you know, treat what it is that was going on within them. And it became so bad, it was a pandemic. And I think because of that, people started having to go for treatment. And during those treatments, really a lot of people started paying more attention to their mental health, you know. So it was this crisis that happened that drove people to seek out help. Some mandated, right? Some, you know, grew up in New York during the 80s and 90s where there was a lot of crack. You know, that was the thing that was happening. So a lot of families were really devastated. So sometimes what ended up happening is the children of those families end up seeking treatment, right? Because if you had a parent who was addicted or who abandoned the family or who died, and during that time, you also had HIV, you know, came in.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so I think during that time also, a lot of people started needing to seek treatment. So it became more and more acceptable for people to go to a psychologist, a psychiatrist, a therapist, because it was a part of something else that kind of started happening. And right now, I really, you know, because of the pandemic, once again, a crisis happened, people started recognizing, oh my God, I'm really feeling it because I'm stuck at home. I'm
Hmm.
isolated with my thoughts. So I think something else grew out of the pandemic where that's when I really opened up. I've been practicing for a long time, but during the pandemic, my phone never stopped ringing. That's when I decided to